So now we'll focus our attention to a really powerful tool that actually maps out the entire Active Directory environment in a graphical format. So I'll let you guys give more information about it.
Yeah.
On to you guys. Yeah.
BloodHound, right? Okay. So I just love BloodHound. Like totally where I'm doing my engagements, I personally like the visual part more, but again, there's a ifs and buts, which we'll cover in the next part. So what BloodHound exactly does it has a collector called as SharpHound, and SharpHound goes and queries all the protocols and on the network.
LDAP protocol.
Yeah, LDAP and other protocols, and basically it gets you all the information that is needed in the network. So now you have everything, basically like the network in front of you. You have a visual representation and you can actually enumerate using that as well. So there are a number of properties in BloodHound, like finding the number of domain admins and more like that.
So simply I will tell that think of BloodHound as the Google Maps. So if we are trying to go from one location to other location, what we do? We try to just give the two location, and Google Maps will give us the path. That's what we do in BloodHound as well. Yeah, how to reach there. That's so same thing we do with the BloodHound. So basically, what generally we do, so whatever the user that we have pawned, we use that as the initial location, and in the final location we will give the high privilege group like domain admins, and when we run the BloodHound query, it will find out the shortest path to that domain admin. So we saw that in the command prompt and the PowerShell that we used, the information is quite scattered, right? We don't know the exact path, or it will take a lot of time. So that's where BloodHound comes in. It will give us a nice and easy path so that we can exploit, and this BloodHound can be very useful for the defenders as well. So there's a saying that a defender thinks in terms of list and attacker thinks in terms of graph. So as long as this is true, I think attackers are ahead. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we spoke about the features and all of that, right? So let's move on to the practical section.
Yeah,
let's just quickly talk about it, and then so our viewers can understand more.
Yeah. So basically, BloodHound has two components, as Tarak mentioned. That one is the ingester, and the other one is the collector. So the ingester is the GUI tool, and the collector is the one that we run, which uses the LDAP protocol, and it will query out all the information from the domain controllers. So this is the command. I think let's leave it here. So as we can see, that's the command SharpHound -c option, and the all option, basically it will query out. This will enable all these flags. So now the SharpHound tool will find out what are the users, groups, GPOs, OUs, what are the relationship between them, and then it will create a JSON file. That's and then we can just send that file to the ingester, which is the BloodHound GUI, and then you can just go to BloodHound and it will give us the path that we just talked about.
So the part of collecting the data is done by SharpHound, and putting it into the graphical interface done by BloodHound. So they go hand in hand.
So yeah, if you see, I think that's what the output. It depends on the environment. If it's a large environment, again it will take hours as well. So that's the graphical interface. It uses Neo4j as its database. So that's what we are trying to log into the database, and when we feed that data, it will all the data will be saved in the database, and we can use just BloodHound magic to find out everything. So yeah, let's see the functionality of BloodHound and how we can use it. So as we can see, the SharpHound has collected all the information, and it will create a zip file which has all the object information in JSON format. So now we can do just drag and drop that zip file into the BloodHound, and then we'll see that BloodHound will process it, and then we can just run our queries. Yeah. So that's what we are doing here. We are dropping that file in the BloodHound, and it will process that file. As we can see, it's now processing the computers, users, groups, the same thing that we just discussed. So depending on the environment, it will take some time to process here as well. Yeah, it is noisy, so defenders can catch it. Like in most of the scenarios they can catch it, but there are some scenarios in which they have not catched us.
But it has like a stealth version as well, right?
Correct.
So I think that can also be caught, right?
Do check that out also.
So if you're someone who is really starting off with active directory enumeration, so what happens is that a lot of time people are like, hey, instead of running PORU and all of this stuff, don't I just run BloodHound in the environment? But that is exactly what you pointed out. You asked like, how noisy is it? So SharpHound actually alerts defenders, so BloodHound. So that is why, if that's the case and the antivirus is blocking it, CLI tools are more prevalent, and powerful.
Yeah. So that's the GUI. So it has 3 tabs: database info, node info, and analysis info. And in analysis info, it has different pre-built queries. So using that find all domain admins, we can find out all the domain admins. We already saw that there are 2 domain admins in the environment. So
one is the backup admin and the default admin.
Yeah. So here we are trying to find out the users that are curve stable. So not going too detail in curve roasting. So that's a attack in Active Directory.
We'll take it up in the next one.
Yeah, correct.
Surely.
Yeah. So here we are trying to find out the Azure Pro stable users. In this scenario, there is only one, which is quite dangerous. And so that's one of the important commands.
The main command.
Yeah,
so finding the shortest path to the domain admin.
So if you own any of these 3 objects in the domain, you can directly become the domain admin. As we can see, this is looking like a secure network because there is no easy direct path to domain admins. So but we know how secure these environments really are. Correct. This is another path to shortest path to all the high privilege groups. So you see, so basically this BloodHound uses graph theory, and it will build a relationship between the objects in a graph form, so that we can know which path we have to take.
So behind the scenes, I think they use Neo4j, right? Which is based on GraphQL.
Correct.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do let them know not to freak out if there's a big diagram.
Because if there is a large environment, this is a pretty small environment that we just saw. If there is like environment with hundreds of or thousands of computers, you are not going to make sense. But don't freak out. You can just take it slow. That's my suggestion here. So now let's see. So again, we are trying to find out. Here also we are trying to enumerate which users have desysync rights. So if a user has desysync right, that's a very high privilege user. So we can find a path to that user as well. So moving on to the next command, we have let's see. I think it's the same. So now we can also pinpoint a user as well. So let's suppose we are the Fox user. We can find out information about our user as well. So if we can just click on it, it will just show you all the things about our users.
So this would be pretty much similar to net user Fox.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah. So what usually we do, I think from here we try to find out the outbound transitive object control. So basically it will give this user has what privileges in the domain. So how we can basically let's take this example. So this Fox is a part of domain users group, and domain user member of some other group. That's how we can find out the relationship between a user and groups and privileges we have on those group and other user objects.
So mainly why the transitive object control properties, because see, whenever you are in a network, you are as a domain user, right? So you need to know, hey, what all stuff that I can access right now. So that is where actually object control gives a
So here we are basically showing, I think, the same thing that we just discussed, outbound object control. And what we usually do, that let's suppose that we have a hold of a user, then we mark that user as owned. It means that we own that user. So that's the initial location.
Okay. From there, then the vectors change again. Right? Okay.
You can do it at different ways. So if let's say you get another user, you have compromised another user, you can actually set it as own principles and then find a path to the different users.
So this is how easy it makes our lives, right?
So if you see now, there is a query like shortest path from our own user, own principal. So this is the domain, this is the user, and if we click that, it will give us a shortest path. But as we can see in this environment, our users don't have that privilege, as we can see in our screens. That's why there is no shortest path. But there are many other ways. So yeah, we are not going to give spoilers in this demo. That's why you are not seeing anything here. Yeah. So yeah, if you are seeing here what we have basically now we have same thing. Let's suppose we have a hold of a user Jeff, then we will check the outbound object control, and if we see in this scenario that this Jeff has some generic right on other user. So yeah, this is how we can find out different attack vectors using BloodHound.
Perfect. Okay, so that was powerful as well. Thank you very much, guys.